What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today we got a lot of catching up to do, man. It has been almost a month, and a lot has happened. But aside from that, we'll be catching up on. I watched The Long Walk a month ago. I'm 50 hours deep into Silksong, and there's been lots of gaming news and cool manga and other stuff I've been watching or whatever. So we'll get out into all that in a little bit. But before I get into all that, as always, if this is your first time here, then welcome. But if you're a returning listener and or watcher, then welcome back. Y'all know here at Danny's to Talk, it's all about fatherhood and family, manga, anime, TV shows, movies, and of course some video games. So yeah, as always, before I even get started, there are timestamps in the description below. So if you want to skip ahead of other stuff, whatever, feel free. But yeah, it's a lot of life stuff been uh, happening these last couple of weeks, and so yeah, I'll just start off and just say, just man, like mentally not good, physically not good. Just your boy is in distraught. Like, yeah, the last few weeks have been super crazy. So things kind of started uh 3 weeks ago, whatever. So we had a pretty busy weekend with the kids, the busiest one we've had in a long time. And so, it was like we were going 45 minutes to an hour in both directions from the house, whatever, to do different stuff in the same day. So yes, that Saturday and Sunday, very busy, whatever. That Sunday night, my wife had mentioned that, she hadn't been feeling good for a few days, whatever. And so, but she wanted to, power through the weekend for the kids and everything, whatever. And so once we got that situation, she was like, okay, take me up to the hospital. I'm just, gonna get checked out or whatever. So went up there about like 8 p.m. or whatever Sunday night. She ended up having to stay in the hospital for about 2 days. Um, yeah, so she without getting into too much of it or whatever, like my wife's family has a history of heart stuff, whatever. So it was some stuff related to that. So she had to get taken care of. She's home, good and stuff now, but still just very stressful time or whatever. And so of course, like I said, we got there about 8 p.m. that Sunday night. They finally checked her, like fully moved her into an actual room about like 1 a.m. So by the time we finished getting her situated or whatever, and then I come home, it's about 2 a.m. or so. And, you know, do a few things I need to do, whatever, and then try to go to bed because, hey, like I talk about all the time, whatever, regardless of what stuff is going on or whatever, life and everything still goes on. I'm like, crap, I still got to be up in a few hours to get these kids up for school and stuff, whatever. So, did that or whatever. Definitely, of course, did not go to work. I just called in because I'm like, for one, dead exhausted, and two, with my wife being in the hospital, I don't want to be, you know, darn near an hour away if something comes up, whatever. So I ended up just staying home, whatever, and so on and so forth. So, like I said, move forward through the week, whatever. She get back home. The rest of the week is kind of just, taking care of her, making sure she's good to go, whatever. So, in the background of all this happening, uh, a few days prior to that, or maybe like a week prior to that, or whatever, I had been having this kind of like weird sensitivity on my middle finger on my right hand or whatever, which, funny enough, and I'll talk about Silksong later on, I thought that I was maybe holding my Switch 2 in a super weird way where I was putting like some weird pressure on my finger because there was one day I was doing some super long gaming sessions. And y'all, if y'all play Silksong, y'all know it can get some hairy situations. So I'm thinking, okay, man, I've been on the game too hard or whatever, but anyway, So like I said, keep that in mind for later on. So that's been bubbling up in the background or whatever, this finger pain or whatever. So like I said, go through the week, whatever, get my wife situated and stuff. And she's pretty much more or less back up and running by that Friday going into the weekend or whatever. So weekend comes around, kids have more stuff to do, whatever. So it was like Saturday. We're at one of the games. And my finger, like I said, still hurting or whatever. I look down at my finger, and like in the corner, I see green. And I'm like, that don't look right. So did a little bit of research or whatever. Found that it might be some type of infection or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, I'll try to muscle through for a few more days or whatever. Yeah, I made it through the weekend, and then by like Sunday night, the discoloration in the green had kind of like gotten a little bit bigger or whatever. Still went to work Monday or whatever, but then I was like, okay, yeah, I need to go ahead and go get this checked out or whatever. Went up there, I was like, yep, it's I can't remember what the name of it or whatever, but yeah, basically a infection or whatever. Can happen for a number of things. Could be a hangnail, could have been people that chew their fingernails. I don't do that. Didn't have a hangnail or whatever, but I do remember a few weeks ago, back around the time I got Silksong or whatever, it was like a little piece of skin or whatever that was kind of like loose in that area, just plucked off, whatever. Done it dozens of times over the course of my life, and never had a problem, whatever. And because when I'm thinking, I'm like, what the heck did I do? That's the only thing I could think of. I was like, oh, yeah, there was that one. So anyway, so I got to the hospital, whatever. And long story short, they had to do an incision on my finger. And let's just say my finger did not get properly numbed. So if you've ever had to deal with an incision or know what that is, it's basically somebody taking a little blade and slicing into your finger to try to relieve some of like the infection or whatever. It was brutal. It was brutal. And it gave me some medication or whatever. But anywho, so that was the start of my week downfall, because I think that between, so like I said, like this infection had been festering for a few weeks by this point or whatever, and then dealing with the stuff with my wife, I was super exhausted, super tired, which I think just kind of helped, lower my body's guard or whatever due to exhaustion and stuff, and made it easy to attack. And so, yeah, last week I missed 2-3 days of work. So like I went full day Monday, full day Friday. Took off Tuesday because I was at the hospital late Monday night, plus just pain. Try to go to work Wednesday. I literally did like half a day Wednesday before just leaving at like noonish or whatever. And then Thursday I just didn't even bother because I was in so much pain again. And then Friday I only did half a day again. So yeah, last week was rough because not only was the finger thing bothering me, whatever, but on top of that, I was also some old dental pain started popping up. So like there was literally one night where it was like 2 something in the morning where I remember waking up because my finger was just like the pain, it was just throbbing in my sleep. So I'm like, okay, I can bear that or whatever. Then the teeth started hurting so bad. Like I'm literally laying in bed, like literally hurting so bad, like tears was like rolling down my eyes, whatever, dude. Like it was tough, but I'm feeling a little bit better. Still not, definitely not 100%. But trying to muscle through whatever, trying to get some type of positivity routine and stuff going. So, anywho, yeah. Keep us in your thoughts and stuff, man. Positive energy, prayers, whatever you want to send and can do, we would greatly appreciate it. Because also amongst all that or whatever, the kids were playing Russian roulette on them getting sick because there was something going around at the schools. So it was like one day Jay was out, Janai was out like 2-3 days or whatever, and then Janae was out a couple of days, and then there was one day where it would be like a combination of like my oldest and one of the girls and blah blah. It was like, bruh, and some of that happened last week when I was sick. So I'm like, bro, I can't even be sick in peace without the kids gotta be sick and stuff too, man. Like, yeah, it was a rough last few weeks to say the least. And so, moving on from there, on some positive stuff. No, well, but before I move to that, one thing I'll just say though, and this will be a bigger topic I want to do at some point down the road, but it's like these weeks are like prime example of like sometimes it's a struggle, like if, for example, if like, okay, your kid might be going through something or need help with something or struggle with something in school or whatever, and then it's like, man, you want to do the best you can to try to help your kids and stuff, whatever, but sometimes it's like if you're struggling too and you can't get your body and yourself right, whatever, to be able to function and to think clearly, whatever, then you can't. It's going to be a struggle for you to try to help your child and stuff too. So that's kind of what I was doing a little bit this last week, whatever. Um, but on a more positive note with some of this stuff, so yeah, so like I said, my kids, the older three, they had different, basically kind of like some like early scrimmages and stuff, for basketball for the school, whatever. Those all went good. It was super cool to kind of get to see how the new teams and stuff are kind of shaping up. Um, my daughters, they had their media day. I think that's been a week or two ago now at this point. We got in some of like the uh, mock photos from their photo shoot, and they came out fantastic. The guy that they got to do the photos, he had kind of been he's built up his company and stuff originally doing photography for cheerleading and stuff, whatever like that. But this year he decided to finally start trying to expand it a little bit, and so he did volleyball and some football stuff, and now basketball. So for my kids' high school, he did their volleyball team. I think he did some of the football, and then he did my daughter's basketball stuff a couple weeks ago, and then he's doing my son's basketball stuff tomorrow or October 1st, whenever y'all are probably seeing this. So pretty cool, very exciting for them. Yesterday also, or Monday, my kids also had. They do kind of like I guess it's kind of like a homecoming parade where of course they have all the homecoming king and queen candidates or whatever, but then they have all the different athletic and band and stuff whatever in the parade. So it's kind of fun taking the whole family out there, seeing my three kids. My three older ones was in the parade and stuff, and then my two younger ones, my middle son, he was running around with some of his friends or whatever up and down the street, hanging out and getting candy and stuff. And then Vash, we were together with another parent that we know whose daughter is friends with our daughters. And she got some kids Vash's age and stuff. So all three of them was out there just hanging out, having a good time, whatever. Got way too much candy. Way too much candy. But I like stuff like that. Just some fun stuff and fun times that we needed after the busy last few weeks that we've had. And yeah, so I think that's more or less it. Like I said, like it was just pretty tough couple of weeks, but I will soldier on and let's dive into a few of these things I want to touch on or whatever. Cause yeah, like I said, it's crazy that it's been about almost a month since I last recorded. Cause I recorded like right before Silksong came out, which was September 4th. It'll be October 1st by the time y'all see this, so that's kind of crazy. But life happens. But I'm gonna just kind of briefly go through some of the things that I've been excited to talk about over these recent weeks and stuff. Don't know how long I'll be able to do because I don't think my endurance is up there all, too much, whatever. Cause I'm already feeling a little bit tired, and I'm like, dang man, I'm only 15 minutes in, but try to get through it and let's talk about some fun stuff. Okay, so let's just kind of just go through some of the gaming stuff I want to just start on first. Starting with the oldest thing is the Nintendo Direct that happened earlier in September. Just kind of just want to just shout out a few things that they talked about there that I'm excited about or looking forward to, or just to put on y'all's radar. Of course, this year is the 40th anniversary. I think this year or next year is the 40th anniversary. I think next year, yeah, 'cause I think it was 86, 1986 when Mario came out. So yeah, so 40th anniversary celebration for the Super Mario Brothers franchise, um, which is kind of crazy to really even think about, at this point. But so they announced that they are doing a new Super Mario animated movie from Illumination, and it's going to be a Super Mario Galaxy movie. So the funny thing about this is that first of all, I still haven't seen the first um, animated Mario movie that came out like 2-3 years ago, or whatever. So still gotta watch that, and also I've never played the Mario Galaxy games. I have one because I got that All Star collection a few years ago, just as a collector thing. I still have it shrink wrapped or whatever. But I had picked that up just because I heard back. It was years back at a moment in time when I had extra money to blow, so I bought it or whatever, and it's just in a drawer somewhere, or whatever. But yeah, so they're doing a movie on that. And also speaking of Mario Galaxy, they're re-releasing this week. Matter of fact, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for the Switch. So so yeah, so that's coming up. Mario Tennis Fever is coming out in February. Update to Mario Wonder. Vash probably will play that. New Fire Emblem game called Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave will be coming out sometime next year. Metroid Prime 4 got a release date of December 4th, and a lot of people are excited about that. Now, this is one that caught my attention, this Pokemon Pokopia. It pretty much looked like a mix of like Dragon Quest Builder, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, all mishmashed together because you play as a Ditto that transforms to look like a person, and you're basically just going around helping out these different little Pokemon and stuff, whatever, and kind of basically building up a little town and stuff. So it looks very cute, very as I say, a little cozy game. But yeah, so that's coming out next year. So it can be might check that out. I don't know. We'll see. More stuff for Pokemon Legends Z. I still don't know if I'm gonna buy that launch day or whatever, or I'll just get it at some point down the road. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment is coming out November 5th. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. This is one that really caught my attention. Mr. Vash is a big fan of Yoshi. I've talked about it before how pretty much every morning on the way to school we listen to the it's like a remixed soundtrack that I found on Spotify of the Yoshi's Island music and stuff, whatever. And so that's something very cool and fun that we share together. But yeah, so this new Yoshi game is coming out spring of next year, and yeah, the whole premise of just Yoshi encountering this Mr. E book, aka Mr. Encyclopedia, and he jumps into the book and is going on adventures to try to, I guess, figure out different creatures or different stuff that's going on. So, but yeah, that's very cute or whatever. I'll probably get that for Vash next year. Virtual Boy coming back. Don't care. Never really. I don't think I've ever. I don't think I ever. Maybe I used a Virtual Boy at something back in the day or whatever, but I have no care for that. Let me see. Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC came out the same day as the Direct. Don't really care. I don't think nothing I'm really interested in, especially for $20. And I still didn't even finish the base game, so I still got to go back and do that. Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out on the Switch in January. They announced a Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, so Dragon Quest VII Remake, coming in February. Hades 2 was a surprise announcement. They said, yeah, Hades 2 is coming out in 2 weeks at that time, so September 25th. It came out last week. It's such a influx of games that have been coming out this freaking last month and some change that it's like, yeah, well, granted, I'm like, first of all, I still never finished the original Hades, but still, these games look so freaking fantastic. But I'm like, I'll get to you someday. But yeah, Hades 2 is out right now on Switch, Switch 2, and PC, coming to other consoles next year or in the future. But yeah, so that's out. Don't care, don't care. Fatal Frame 2 remake. They announced Resident Evil 7, 8, and 9 all coming on the same day, February of next year, which is kind of weird. It's like, why don't you just stagger the releases of 7 and 8 over this holiday? But whatever. And I think that might have been it for that was it for the main Nintendo Direct stuff. So, but yeah, so pretty solid Direct. Lots of stuff that I am interested in and excited about. So, looking forward to that. Let's see. All right, so moving on to the next showcase that happened last week. PlayStation did a state of play last week and had a handful of things that caught my attention. First off, we finally got to see Wolverine again. So this the new game from Insomniac, the same studio that does Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank. And the game looks super cool, super brutal, gritty. Like a lot of us were hoping for, whatever. So, but yeah, no set date on it, but they just said coming out fall of next year. So your boy will be there. Probably got to kick Vash out the room for this one, maybe. But yeah, very excited. The game looks freaking dope. They showed, I know they showed Mystique and what's it called? A Sentinel. And yeah, just lots of stuff, man. It just looks really cool. Saros. We got to see some 5 minutes of gameplay of this, and we got a release date of March 20th. So Saros is not that far away. This is the new game from Housemarque, the kind of like spiritual successor to Returnal that came out a handful of years ago. So yeah, that game looks cool. Probably not gonna be my type of thing, whatever. But I look forward to watching streams and stuff of people playing it and stuff. So Microsoft Flight Simulator is coming to PlayStation in December. We saw a Battlefield 6 trailer. A remaster for the original Deus Ex is coming February of next year. So not really my type of game, but just for some of y'all that might be into that series, hey, got a new one coming. Now, this next one, my wife was excited about for a little bit. So they're doing a Halloween game that basically is gonna be kind of like a asymmetrical game, kind of like Friday the 13th was all those years ago. And I talked about it before. Like my wife and her friends loved Friday the 13th. They played it. There was a stretch for a long time where they were playing it pretty much every day for months and months and months, and they were very sad when it shut down. And so when I saw this, I was like, "Yo!" And I showed it to her, whatever. And then they're like, "Yeah, coming out," and it says September, and I was like, "Ooh!" Then it was like September 6th, 2026. Like y'all announced this practically a year away. Like what? So yeah, that kind of took a little bit of the wind out of the sails, but she'll probably check it out when it come out next year. Let's see. Neo 3 come out in February. Code Vein 2, January 30th. Crimson Desert got a release date of March 19th. So, those last couple of weeks of March are looking pretty crazy because you have this March 19th, the following day you have Sorrows, and then a week later you have the James Bond game, 007 First Light. Now, of these three, 007 would be more my type of game. Granted, I'm not like a super big James Bond fan, but as far as like just like gameplay style, it looks kind of like a Hitman mixed with Uncharted. Love me some Uncharted, so I might check out that game, assuming there's nothing else that pops up between in that time frame that I might be more looking forward to. Crimson Desert looks insane, just scale wise, that I'm not even gonna bother, cause that definitely looks like a game though that for a person that might be just maybe do some finances or just life or whatever and just be like, hey, I only get one game every few months, whatever. This looks like the type of game that you can sink dozens, if not hundreds of hours into because like it shows so much stuff going on in the games where I just feel like, yeah, I would get it, put a good amount of chunk of time into it possibly, and then be like, yeah, no, this too much, I'm full. But I look forward to watching some streams or some people playing it or whatever. So new Let It Die Inferno coming out in December. Never really played the first one or cared about it, but eh. This next one looks super cool. Chrono Script, The Endless End. So this is what it says. It's a Metroidvania where players play. So you play as the editor, trapped within manuscripts, hoping to unravel the mystery and guide the endless story to its finality in this exploration action adventure game. So it's by Deskworks and Shueisha Games. So, but yeah, just like the art style and everything for it looks very unique. So, looking forward to that. Seven Deadly Sins Origins. Now, just off of the name, I was like, don't care. Seven Deadly Sins, you burned the bridge with me. But I do gotta say, low key, looks pretty cool. But I just thought that this is gonna be a free to play open world RPG, huh? So we'll see. I won't be seeing, but somebody will be seeing. That's coming out in January of next year. Freaking God of War controller for the 20th anniversary. But and I guess that is it. So yeah. So like I said, a few things from the like I said that Chrono Script, and of course, like I said, Wolverine coming out next year. So those are my kind of couple of things from that I am excited for. The other few things that happened this past week, because the Tokyo Game Show is happening over in Japan right now. Xbox announced a new Forza Horizon 6, and like the rumors have been pointing to whatever, it will be taking place in Japan. So a lot of people are excited about that. Kojima did a celebration for his studio hitting their 10th anniversary, and they showed off more of that horror game OD. They showed off, or he showed like something like concept art or cover art for that espionage game that's going to be on PS6. Can't even think of the freaking name of that thing. Pheasant. That's the name of the game. So yeah, that they showed off some concept art for that, and then lastly they showed off the Death Stranded animated movie. I think that's coming out some point in the future. So that looks pretty cool. But yeah, so that's it for those. Now I got to talk about, if I can find any of my stuff. Um, just briefly, whatever. I just gotta just shower love on freaking Silksong, man. So, like I mentioned at the top of the episode, I am freaking, I think I'm like 52, 53 hours into Silksong. And I am freaking loving the game, even though, yes, there are times where I am beyond frustrated or get stuck in something crazy, but it is still, it is still being such a blast. And like I said, the fact that I have gotten to put that much time in is freaking crazy. But yeah, so I am 50-ish hours in. I'm still in Act 2. So for people that have played the game or are playing the game, I'm pretty much trying to get the third song, but I am having difficulty with that one challenge room. And if you know what I'm talking, if you've played it, you know which room I'm talking about to get that third song. But yeah, like I said, like for one, I would say I'm glad I went with my gut. I went with my gut instinct and got it on Switch 2 because having the flexibility to play this wherever is a key factor of how I have been able to put in so much time because these last, like I said, like pretty much every weekend this month or whatever, we've been gone like 60% of the weekend or whatever, traveling around the Metroplex, doing all the stuff with the kids or whatever. And so being able to just pack up my Switch 2 and pull it out or whatever while, heck, even just throughout the week when my kids have different stuff going on or whatever, it's okay, hey, you got a 1 to 2 hour practice or whatever. Okay, cool. Drop them off, go park my car, have me my water and a snack or whatever. And, hey, I'm playing Silksong for that bit of time, whatever. But yeah, I have truly been loving the game. Like there have been just like so many fantastic locations and stuff that I have gotten to see and to explore and everything. And I don't know, it's like I said, like yes, there have definitely been many frustrating moments, or whatever, because I remember early in the game as I was scrolling through my Twitter account, just looking at old posts I made. Uh, yeah, there are some times where it's like I kind of hit a wall or whatever, but the balance of the difficult moments along with just like moments that like really capture your attention, like just like some of like the different environments and different stuff going on, these areas you go into, like this image I'm showing now, the first time you go into Bellhart and seeing all the citizens strung up all over the city and stuff, whatever, it looks super crazy. Um, going throughout the Citadel and like the music and not knowing what new different creatures and NPCs and stuff um, that you are going to encounter on your journey is kind of what pushes me to keep going, even beyond, like I said, any of the frustrating moments and stuff that I have, because typically, for the most part, sometimes I will leave an area and then, like, hey, okay, I'll just circle back to this a little bit later. And a lot of times, there are lots of other areas to go and explore. Um, because there, and of course, like as you play throughout the game, you're getting new abilities and stuff. So you're able to like to circle back to older areas, but like, oh, okay, cool. Now I got the double jump. Now I can get up to this higher ledge, or I can float, or I can glide up, or I got the little hook shot thing, whatever. All these different things, and they do a pretty good job of sprinkling around different stuff throughout the environment of like, okay, what are these little hooks here or whatever and different stuff like that. But I will say there are some super devious uh spots hidden all around the map. Like there have been a couple that there's a couple of people like your boy Roshi. And shout out to him. He'll never see this, but him and his crew Shira and Lupa, they channel hit 1 million subs earlier today. Whatever, super dope. I got a chance to meet them briefly at DreamCon when it was in Dallas 3 years ago. But yeah, so I've been watching Roshi and Shira stream Silksong, and then this other guy watch Bear Taffy, whatever, and it's like you're kind of like what I would do is I would play up to a point, and then in between as I'm like relaxing or eating, whatever the case may be, whatever, watch some of their streams or whatever, because I'm like, okay, I've already gone through this area, whatever, but then it's like they'll find a freaking hidden wall or secret switch or whatever, and then I'm like, yo, what? That was there or whatever, and so yeah, there. And like I said, like some of them, of course, okay, that's a breakable wall or whatever, but some of them, like the wall looks smooth and solid, but one of the things I love about this game is like how like mechanical and stuff some of these areas and stuff are. And so it looks like just like, hey, a plain Jane door, but you go multiple hours throughout the game, you explore that area or whatever, and you end up looping back around, hitting a switch, and it spits you out into the spot that you thought was just a plain wall, but it was actually maybe like a mechanical door that was solid or whatever. And so it's like that discoverability um is so fun in the game, and like the atmosphere and the vibes, like this one cog work core. I really love just like all the like mechanical stuff in there. White Ward kind of gave like a spooky hospital vibe. And yeah, man, just these locations, man, like just are so freaking dope. And like I said, like the rush when you finally um overcome some of these challenges and stuff. And of course, like shout out to all the artists out there, man. Like look at the detail in this freaking fan art of this. This was kind of like one of like the very first really big bosses at the end of Act One, called the Last Judge, and so like this art looks super dope of him. But yeah, that has been like a fun thing with this game. Is just seeing fans in the community pour their heart and love into expressing how much they're um, enjoying the game and stuff like that. But but yeah, like I said, 50-ish hours in. Um, like I said, I'm playing everywhere I can. Like heck, even during the rough and the dark times when we was at the hospital and stuff, whatever. Hey, had my Switch 2 with me or whatever to kind of help, occupy my mind and stuff, whatever. And I feel like because of the timing of the life stuff that we had going on these last couple of weeks or whatever, that's going to make my connection to this game that much stronger or whatever, just because I'll always remember like, okay, when I was going through this very tough time, I had this game that is kind of like a comfort food to kind of help take my mind off of the pain and the sadness and depression and stuff that I've been kind of feeling here and there with everything going on. But and also I gotta say shout out to the youth, because my middle son, Andre, who is he's in seventh, he's 12 in seventh grade. The kids at people at his school talking about Silksong, whatever, because he came home one day, whatever, and was like, "Have y'all ever heard of a game called Silksong?" I think. And at the time, I had my Switch docked, and I was playing it on my TV. And he was like, "Wait, oh, you're playing?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And so that's been like another little fun thing of me and him kind of getting to bond and share that connection over that, because um, so it's on Xbox Game Pass, and so he has Game Pass, so he's been able to play it a little bit himself. Of course, he hit some very early um, difficulty moments, so he hadn't really played much lately though. But just the fact that he gave it a shot is what really matters and what counts the most. But like I said, super dope though. That like I said, that is something that kids his age and stuff are interested in and stuff. So, but yeah, so that's Silksong. Like I said, I'm gonna continue to try to plug away at it. Um, Man, the games keep coming because freaking Ghost of Yote comes out in a couple of days, man. And that was on my radar, but for one, obviously, never anticipate being sick because honestly, like last week, I was out of commission so bad that like for like 2 to 3 of those days or whatever, I didn't even have the energy or the brain power to even try to play Silksong because typically, oh, I'm home for 3 days. Yeah, I'm gonna run these numbers up. Nope. I didn't play no games. I barely even watched any shows, whatever. It was just a lot of just like laying there in pain, taking medicine, sleeping, and of course still doing family stuff in between. But yeah, so like I said, I was expecting to already be done with Silksong possibly to get Yote, but it is what it is. I want to continue to try to push and play through Silksong first, and Yote will be there when I get to it. Hopefully in the coming weeks, because I definitely don't want to derail my Silksong play, especially as I'm getting deeper and deeper into the game. I don't want to take too long of a break to go play Yote because I already know I'm probably going to put close to as many hours probably into that, at least a good 20 to 30 easy in Yote and stuff. So, but yeah, so I'll get to that later in the month. Battlefield 6 is coming up freaking next week. I ain't gonna be playing that. Maybe down the road to get that too. Um, oh, a few other game things I want to touch on briefly with us. So that's kind of pretty much it for me with my Silksong thoughts for now. Like I said, I'll probably come back and talk about it more. Maybe hopefully if I beat it in the coming weeks and stuff. So, but yeah, so freaking awesome game. I just got to a new area called and this was like a prime example of like them hiding stuff in areas that is like it's like putrefied ducks. So I was like I was looking up something else for some and a guy there was like, yeah, you can find such and such in putrefied ducks, and I'm like, where the heck is that? And it was like, yeah, it's connected to the memoriam, which beautiful little small little area, but yeah, one of those things to where it was like up in the ceiling or whatever, there's like some like cloth hanging up, whatever. There's like a little ledge thing, whatever, that you can hit. It'll pop down and you can jump up, whatever, and then take a walk. Um, actually, no. I had found that spot before, and because there was a mission out there, whatever. But high up on this wall, whatever, that you don't notice at first is a breakable wall. You take that, and that takes you way out west, no, out east, far east of the Citadel or whatever, to this whole area. This is pretty much like Biowater, Biowater's twin, except for not. Well, no, I'm about to say not as filthy looking, but just as brutal because it's got, yeah, it's got some nasty traps and bugs and different creatures and stuff, whatever. So, but anyway, so not enough about Silksong. I gotta move on. A couple of things. So Power World announced a new spinoff. So this was funny because of the whole Pokemon Pokopia thing I talked about earlier, whatever. But it's called I don't think they gave it a Palfarm. So it's pretty much like a Power World Animal Crossing type of game or whatever. That's coming sometime next year, whatever. And then there's this other game called what is it? Anata. It's gonna be like a free to play open world game. And the thing about this game is that you see a little bit of a lot of games in this. Like it literally has the Spider-Man web swinging around. It has the open world driving around and character switching from GTA 5. It's got the hand-to-hand combat of sleeping dogs with the environmental takedowns and stuff, whatever. It's got some hints of like watchdogs in there. It's got feel like it was something else, whatever. But yeah, man, like this like mishmash game. Now, hey, low key looks like it might be a fun, hey, a anime open world GTA style game or whatever with all these other gaming elements. Maybe we'll see. But yeah. So that's those couple things. And the other thing too, Arc Raiders. They're doing like a free multiplayer trial weekend or whatever in a couple of weeks. I think like around like the 17th or whatever before the game launches at the end of the month. So people that might have interest in that multiplayer game, whatever, Arc Raiders. So be on the lookout for that beta or whatever they're calling it or whatever later this in a couple of weeks. So, but yeah. So I think that's it for the gaming stuff. Um, okay. So I'm gonna touch on this briefly. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna touch on a few more things, whatever. Cause I'm getting really tired. So the movie The Long Walk. So this is based off of I believe, Stephen King book from way back in the day. Now, this movie really good, but also very brutal. And of course, if you know the premise, whatever, you know that going in, but still seeing it still hit me very, very, very heavy in the heart. So the setup for this movie is pretty much like a semi dystopian America where like a big war happened or whatever, and the U.S. was kind of left in a bad state. And so every year they do this competition called the Long Walk, where from if I remembering correctly, one representative from each of the 50 states joins the competition or whatever, and basically if you win, you get a crap ton of money and then you get one wish. And so that is what the movie is about: is all these young men coming in from all over and them going on this walk, and it is literally just them walking, but it is nonstop, and you have to maintain a certain pace, and you get 3 warnings, and then the third warning, you get killed. And it's literally, yeah, just keep walking until the last man is standing. And so there is like a designated uh goal, final point or whatever. But um, but yeah, so that is like the setup and premise of the movie. And of course, you know, as these things kind of go, whatever, you have your core cast of characters that you kind of get to learn and spend time with each of these young men and learn what their different motivations and reasoning is for wanting to be in this competition, and then why they're wanting to get the big prize or the big wish and all this different stuff. And yeah, these characters did so well in portraying so much in this because, like I said, it is 24/7 walking nonstop. Um, Daytime, nighttime, there is no, hey, it's getting dark. Hey, we're going to set up camp or whatever, resume tomorrow. Nope, you go nonstop throughout the night. If it's raining, whatever the case may be, whatever, you keep going. And so, one interesting thing with the whole warning system, though, whatever, is that for each warning you get, you, for each warning you get, that is 1 hour's worth of time that you have to remain, um, that you have to avoid getting into any trouble or whatever, and then your count will reset. So basically, it'll be like, you know, Rob, first warning, Rob, second warning. And then, okay, if I don't do nothing for 2 hours or whatever, okay, cool, can get back to it or whatever. But, because, yeah, it were certain situations or whatever where somebody, dumb stuff like, okay, somebody had to tie their shoe. Or, hey, you got to use the bathroom or whatever now. For the most part, they created a technique if they got to pee, they just, do it while they're walking or whatever. Now, the harder one is if you got to drop a deuce. That's kind of hard to do while you walking. So weird little stuff like that or whatever. And of course, like I said, just fatigue. So like I said, if you start dropping below a certain speed threshold or whatever. But anyway, this core cast of characters was super good, and the way some of them go out, man, just like really, 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 man, hit you in the heart. Just because you know from the beginning, it's like you already kind of get set up the kind of like main dynamic duo or whatever. Okay, it's probably gonna be these two at the end, but still, there's other surrounding characters that they all kind of become friendly. You get to start to grow. Each of them start to kind of grow on you a little bit and stuff over the course of the movie. But then it's just like I said, just some of them, uh, accident happens or they get sick or whatever, because like I said, you're going nonstop for days through rain and whatever other elements that you're encountering, whatever, that yeah, the human body is not meant to be doing that, and they lasted, it was several days that this walk took or whatever. um and yeah, so it was very brutal for some of these characters, specifically for my boy that was from Louisiana. That's what I'm just keep it vague on that or whatever. But when he was starting to kind of get ready to have his final moments and stuff, whatever, man, like I was in the theater kind of tearing up because I'm like, damn it, like I said, like most of these guys ain't gonna make it or whatever, but it's still just like when the reality moment comes, and like I said, like some of them go out in a blaze of glory, and some of them just choose to, hey, yeah, I'm just gonna just stop and just waiting for them to get killed or whatever and stuff, man. But yeah, Long Walk, really, really, really good movie. Like I said, some very brutal scenes and stuff, whatever, because it kind of got to the point to where, especially when it was like close up camera, like this, whatever, I just kind of like just like close my eyes or just like turn my head a little bit, cause they don't ain't no camera cut, nothing, whatever. Like when they show the boom, it is no holding, pulling punches, whatever. Like they show it. But yeah, so the Long Walk, go check it out. If you have not yet. Um, the other show, I just want to shout out, man, because I finally started watching it. Peacemaker. So, I really enjoyed season one and was looking forward to this, whatever, but wasn't really in a rush. But hey, I had some time last week being sick, so towards like the end of like Friday, when I was feeling a bit better going into the weekend or whatever, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and start the show or whatever, just because the most recent episode had a lot of hype and discussion about it or whatever, and I know why now. But yeah, so Peacemaker season two. The fun thing about this season is that it is kind of dealing with the alternate dimension stuff. So without getting too much into it or whatever, Peacemaker, uh, he ends up going to basically, because yeah, they showed it in the first season or whatever, that pocket dimension that they said originally that, like, oh, his dad made it or whatever, um where he kept some of his gear or whatever. Well, he had to explore it a little bit more than he ever got a chance to growing up, whatever, and he ends up finding a parallel dimension and stuff. And so that leads to a lot of interesting encounters and situations and stuff when you have a world that is near identical to yours, but not all the way, especially as we just saw in the most recent episode. uh, but yeah, it has just been just fun, silly action, man. Just I don't know. I just really just like this crew of characters, and just seeing how they are kind of playing off of each other and bouncing off of each other and stuff. So, but yeah. So shout out to Peacemaker. Like I said, I just want to just give it a little bit of just like a quick shout out with that. So, um, oh, it's coming up on an hour. Hold on. Okay. So, just a couple more things I just want to touch on that I'm gonna get up out of here. So, I'm gonna kind of touch on these very briefly. First of all, Dr. Stone, man, like I I had been kind of like checking here and there for this most recent season because I knew they're going to be getting close to one of my favorite moments and favorite arcs of the series from when I was reading the manga a few years ago, whatever, as it was getting on its final stretch. And I would say like they knocked it out of the park with how they handled or how they have been handling this whole series overall, but especially man, like this last season, they really did their thing. And seeing everything play out again, and this was also my first time watching it in English dub. Well done. Great. Um, great dub. But seeing these moments that really punched my heart all them years ago, whatever, seeing them animated or whatever, it still hit, man. Like the whole Suika alone arc and all that stuff, man. Like seeing the carnage and the brutality of what happens, and obviously spoilers for this section or whatever of Dr. Stone, but it's like seeing the slaughter of everybody, and again, even obviously knowing how it all plays out, but still like that devastation of like yeah, these characters giving it their all to try to help each other out, try to push the next part of the plan onward. But yeah, just seeing everybody getting taken out one by one. Um, and then seeing my favorite panel of just, Suika jumping towards the thing. And then, the the whole world getting petrified again. Like I still remember that moment when I read it in the manga, man, just like how just like stunned I was that it's like, yeah, things got so dire that the only way for them to win, so to speak, whatever, was to petrify the whole planet again. On this Hail Mary, they're like, hey, we put this last vial of revolver fluid up here, and hopefully someday in the future, a loud enough sound or something will cause it to fall down on the person that's underneath it or whatever, and we can get things going. But yeah, man, like that was rough. And then, like I said, seeing Suika go through them freaking 7 years alone, figuring out how to survive, and then trying to learn how to make the petrification fluid. Because you got to remember, she's like under 10 years old, you know? Or I think she might have been maybe like right at 10 by this point, because of course time has passed since the first episode of Dr. Stone or whatever. But yeah, so I think she was maybe close to 10. And so now, 7 years later, she's freaking 17 or whatever. And so it's kind of crazy. It is like when Senku them last looked this week, she was a little child, and now she's the same age as a lot of them. But yeah, just seeing that moment, the hugs and the reunions, the embracing, the partying, all that stuff, and yeah, just ready to see how things go in this next arc or whatever. So I'm curious to see how people uh, react and respond to this final stretch of Doctor Stone in the coming weeks and stuff. So, or next season, I should say specifically. All right. Next, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to freaking Gachiakuta. So, Gachiakuta, I think I probably talked about it briefly many years ago on the podcast because it had started the month after Fire Force ended. And so I remember I had read the early days of Gachiakuta. I read probably like 30 plus chapters maybe back then or whatever, or close to it. Really enjoyed it, and it was just one of those things of like, a new series or whatever, trying to stick with it week to week or whatever. I was like, hey, I'll just kind of pause on this for an hour and come back, whatever. And it's been years, and that's gonna freaking anime. But I'm kind of glad I did because the anime adaptation has been done superbly. Like, I'm watching it in English dub, like visually, awesome, awesome, looks dope, visually, artistic wise, everything. The English dub cast sounds super dope, super fun, cool. Um, but yeah, so over the weekend, um, I just started it back up. 'Cause I think I had watched the first maybe like 3, 4 episodes, I think, whatever, of the anime, and then just kind of paused. But I went back, caught up, whatever, and now I'm back current, and yeah, just seeing all this stuff, whatever, animated, it was kind of like really clicking with that part of my brain. I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. I was really enjoying it, and plus, I think the manga just hit a big milestone. I think it was like chapter 150 or something like that or whatever. And I've been seeing like some cool images and panels of different stuff going on, and I'm like, ooh, what is that? And so that's kind of what really kicked me is like, okay, I want to get back into this, whatever, because I'm pretty sure it might be getting close, maybe, to where I had stopped, because I know for sure I read through the Canvas Town stuff, and then I for sure got to where they're at now with the girl that was mind controlling with the sense and stuff, whatever. So yeah, I might be coming up on some new material soon. Bam. So shout out to Gachiakuta. Shout out to Clevatess. Uh, yeah, man, like this show ended, and I feel like they did it start to finish. Um, this show is a rare kind that we don't get many dark fantasy series um, that much nowadays, and so yeah, so just gotta give it kudos. Like if you were looking for a very cool dark fantasy action type of series or whatever with some good characters and stuff, Clevitas is one that I highly recommend. It was only like 12, 13 episodes, and so they already announced season 2, so I'm looking forward to that. Um, but yeah, so dope. Shout out to that show. Um, what else finished? Oh, The Water Magician finished, man, and that show is such a mixed bag for me because there were so many spots of hope. Like those first like 2 or 3 episodes, very strong. And then it kind of dipped a little bit, and then it had that one like the eclipse episode, super dope. Then kind of dipped again, and then the episode where they were in the dungeon thing, whatever, super dope. Dipped a little bit, and then this last episode, or these last couple episodes, pretty solid or whatever. But I'm like, come on, like get it together, man. Like I don't know if it was just like the pacing or what, but and maybe that show might be better as a binge or whatever. I'll be curious to know from people who check it out later on or whatever. But Water Magician, it was okay. I'm not mad that I watched it or whatever, but I'm just like, man, so there's more potential there. I know it. And so hopefully maybe hopefully if it gets a second season, it gets a chance to kind of flesh that stuff out a bit better. But yeah, so that's it for the anime stuff, I believe. Um, yeah, I think that might be it, man. I will give a brief shout out to One Piece. Like, man, the stuff going on in Wano right now, super dope. No spoilers, whatever. Not Wano. I'm thinking of Wano because the homie Kid the Pro. I listen to his podcast, whatever. He's in Wano right now. He just got there, whatever. But I mean, God Valley. That's what I'm talking about. God Valley. Like, yeah, that whole everything happening with that, super dope. Ichi the Witch starting off a new arc, whatever, and it just has some very awesome last few chapters. I think I still got to read the chapter from this past weekend. I didn't read that one yet. And then I've been reading a new webtoon. What is it called? Let me see if I can find the name. Come on. The Greatest Estate Developer. Man, how many? I am 25 chapters into that webtoon or whatever, man. I just started it like the other day. Being super fun. Like it popped up on my radar because I had never heard of it before, but it popped up on my radar because it ended last week, whatever. And so people were telling me like yeah, the greatest webtoon in a long time just ended and da 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 da. And I'm like, all right, let me check it out. So I read it and like instantly like that first shot I read like 5 to 10 chapters or whatever in like damn near one sitting. I'm like, oh, okay. And I've been like just chipping away at it at time over the last few days, whatever, especially at nighttime, which I'm gonna do when I get off of here. But yeah, man, like it's been really, really fun. It's pretty much about a guy who gets, I don't know if I would say reincarnated because he didn't seemingly die, but he ends up basically in the storybook that he was a fan of, whatever. He's read front to back and knows all the stuff, whatever. And so he's in the body of the oldest son of this baron or whatever. And so yeah, it is just basically him going doing shenanigans and stuff, whatever, to kind of basically like help his family get out of these debts and different bad situations and stuff that they're in or whatever. But he has these different abilities that kind of deal with, you know, building up land and different stuff like that or whatever. But yeah, kind of weird to try to describe, but it has been a super fun read and stuff. So, but yeah, so that is that, and I think that might do it. I do hopefully in the coming weeks, because my original plan was to do like a fall preview episode around this time, but I didn't expect to not record for a freaking month. But it is what it is. But I'll probably just wait a couple of weeks and just do like a first impressions thing after I've watched some of these shows and stuff. But yeah, so I think that is it. I'm just taking one last look. Man, okay. So I had started reading a little bit of this manga called Fungus and Iron because I remember coming across it a long time ago, whatever. And it's like, the name definitely sticks in your brain, at least for me, or whatever it does. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I struggled to get to. I don't even know how far I got. I think I got to like 15, 20 chapters, whatever. But that 15 to 20 chapters compared to the other one I'm reading or whatever, not even close. Now I will say that the author of this Fungus and Iron, you can tell that they were a assistant on Attack on Titan because out the box it is screaming Attack on Titan as far as like the location setup of like being within this enclosed area and blah 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 whatever. But I don't know, man. It feels like it has some potential good ideas here and there at first, but then it just feels a little bit disjointed or whatever for me. So but yeah. So But I think that's gonna do it for me. Yeah, ain't nothing else I really need to touch on. I need to get my butt in bed. Last thing I will say, shout out, Reading Rainbow is gonna be coming back, in the near future and stuff, whatever. So, um, yeah. But anywho, I've got an hour and some change. Uh, Not bad for having not recorded in a month. But as always, thank you so much for watching and listening. You can find me everywhere at Dan Needs to Talk. And I appreciate those of y'all that be reaching out, checking up on your boy or whatever, because I do definitely be needing it or whatever. Um, but yeah, so as I always say, treat yourself to something nice, read some manga, watch some anime, TV shows, movies, and of course, play some video games, and of course, live your best life. And with that, I think I'm pretty much out. I do gotta say, Tron Ares comes out next week, as well as that running anime from the guy who did Orb. So I'm like, okay, I got a couple things on my radar next week, whatever. So we'll see what I gotta report back next time y'all see me. But thank y'all so much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.